Okay, NASA just got exposed. 20 hours ago, they posted this image of the galaxy from April 7th, 2026. They say Artemis 2 took the picture. When you reverse image search it, it comes up that they already posted this image of the galaxy in 2008, okay, on multiple sources all over the place and originating from NASA. So you'd think if you were in space, you wouldn't need to use an image from, 15 frickin' years ago. You could just literally put your cell phone up to the window and take a new picture of the galaxy or whatever GoPro fisheye lens they have going on. But do this yourself so you know this isn't, Grok's AI even confirms it, by the way.
There's so much weird stuff happening with NASA that I just can't keep up anymore. In August of 25, I posted a TikTok with a theory about how I think that Disclosure is actually announcing that there's an asteroid that's going to hit Earth. And then my profile got taken down permanently. And we just launched a rocket last week. I know it's the Artemis 2 mission, but I don't think it's actually real. I think we launched a rocket, yeah, but I don't think we sent astronauts in there. They came back on a zip line. And I don't think that rocket is coming back to Earth either. Because no one's gonna witness that. No one's gonna witness the rocket returning. Everyone just watched it taking off. So my theory anyway is that Artemis 2 is actually a DART mission. And there's a lot of reasons why that would make sense. First of all, you got this guy, Sean Duffy. You've probably seen him on TV because he was a Fox News anchor for a while, and before that, he was on MTV The Real World. But this guy was selected to be the acting administrator for NASA. I think it's rather interesting that it's always referred to his role as the acting administrator, almost as if he's the administrator of acting. They never call him the administrator for NASA. It's just acting administrator. What would you be the administrator of if not for acting with that title, right? And that theory holds some weight when you hear him talk about central casting, because he did. He talked about it on Fox News, and Donald Trump selected him specifically for his look, for his central casting look.
2 of the 4 American astronauts that are on that flight, they're right out of central casting.
So we have someone flat out telling us that these astronauts are actors from central casting. So that actually makes sense then, that they're just faking it. They're trying to convince the public that they are on a mission to go around the moon for no freaking reason. And then we're watching all these AI videos of the backside of the moon as if that's really what we're seeing. And I'm sure they'll tell us that they returned to Earth and landed in the ocean somewhere and the dolphins were swimming around like last time, right? It's all a show. It's all reality television, which we know is scripted. And I could go on and on and on. Something about these astronauts doesn't add up. In fact, there's one particular detail of the pilot that really stands out to me. So this guy was an FA-18 pilot, but then he was on Senator McCain's administrative team for a while. Like he was in politics, I guess. And now he's the pilot for Artemis 2. Really? And this is the same Victor Glover that listens to Whitney on the Moon twice a week when he goes to work. You guys know what that poem's about? Whitney on the Moon is a spoken word poem that critiques American economic inequality during the Apollo moon missions. Drawing attention to systemic issues faced by Black Americans. So we've got a Black American pilot that's listening to a poem twice a week about systemic economic inequality for Black Americans, particularly spending money on moon missions and then being the pilot of his own moon mission. None of this makes sense. This is all one big show. This is central casting. It's one bad movie, as Stephen Baldwin would call it. And we're about to see the grand finale.
I think we can all agree at this point that they are lying to us about Artemis 2, the recent space mission. Now, there was a couple weird things about this launch. They decided to do it on April Fools. Also, the rockets were 322 feet long, which is the number tied to Skull and Bones. If you read Genesis 3:22, it refers to the tree of life and living forever. They believe that one day, with enough power and money, they'll become immortal. There was an image of a NASA suit technician that has a clear tattoo of Baal on his hand. There are a lot of Masons inside of NASA. There was a clip that was circulating of the entire crew. They were visible on video. And suddenly a jar of Nutella flies in from behind the camera with perfect rotation to show the label. Now this, to me, looks like ad placement. Now there is a popular video of a plushie that was floating that's going viral. What people are saying is that there was no shadow, but the woman had a shadow over her hands. If you take the word NASA, it's one letter off of being an anagram to Satan. That's why they say T-minus 1 minute, etc., wherever they're at. They name all their rockets after pagan gods. All of them. But if you check the roots of NASA, the person who built the rockets NASA sent to space was Jack Parsons. He claimed he was the Antichrist, he was deeply involved with the occult, and he says he was self-taught the schematics of the rockets by mythical beings through sex magic. They have gotten $650 billion in funding since inception in 1958. If you adjust that with current inflation, that's close to $2 trillion. So currently, every single day, they receive 68 million US dollars. Now, a lot of people think that space is fake and that the earth is flat and that everything revolves and moves around it. They believe that in between us, you got water below us and you got water above us, and it's us in the middle. So space is water. And there has been projects where they've tried to break out the firmament. Operation Fishbowl happened, and that was their attempt on nuking the firmament.
Artemis mission to the moon. I do just have a couple of questions. I want to know why we can't see any stars, and there were no satellites in the sky as well. That's just for information purposes. There are little toys that keep flying around. I don't know, but I thought that there was something that had to happen in order for, things to float and move around on their own, but I'm not a scientist. And then my third question is, why is there nothing like live on the outside of the capsules so that we could actually see the entire space around it? So we can not only just see the moon and the earth, we can see the sun and the stars and the other planets and galaxies. But that's just my little take. Oh my God, those glasses, those paper glasses that they wore to protect their eyes when looking at the moon.
Can someone please explain to me why NASA would do this? They sent a spaceship to go around the moon and come back. There's astronauts on there with cameras on them. I checked the NASA website, and there's a gallery of the photos that they've taken, but looking at them, I don't understand why they're not using cameras that we have available today that are like 100 megapixels, 80 megapixels, 40 megapixels, and not using those cameras or even posting the actual files from the camera. Because when you go on their website and you look at the gallery, I downloaded them. They are JPEGs, and they're like a small resolution. They're like 1024 by something. I don't know what it was, but it's small. It's small resolution JPEGs. Where are the raw photos? Where are the high resolution photos? I don't know the reason. I have some ideas as to why they wouldn't post raw images or higher resolution photos, but why wouldn't they do that? I'm just curious, honestly.
Return to the moon. How can we return somewhere we have never truly been? When will people awaken to this deception? According to the Word of God, the moon is not a physical rock orbiting Earth in space. Instead, it is a luminary, a source of light. God created the greater light, the sun to govern the day, and the lesser light, the moon to rule the night. Scripture says the moon is for signs, times, and seasons. Nothing can physically land on the moon. Since the beginning of time, humanity has sought to ascend into the heavens. Satan himself declared he would ascend above the throne of God. And because of his pride, he was cast out of heaven. Similarly, ancient Babylon attempted to build a tower to reach the heavens and make a name for themselves. But God confused their language to stop them. Now, in 2026, humanity continues this pursuit, trying to reach the highest heavens. Contrary to popular belief, mankind has never truly gone to the moon, never landed there, and never will. Why do they continue these attempts? Because Satan still influences their hearts, just as he did at the Tower of Babel, leading them to sin against the Most High by trying to ascend above God's throne. The Apollo missions were a lie. Artemis too is a lie. Mankind will never ascend into the highest heavens by their own efforts. The only way to rise up is through faith in Jesus.
I could be wrong, but hear me out. What if the globe Earth is the deception? The Earth tilts at about 23.4 degrees. The Arctic and Antarctic circles are located at 90 degrees. If you subtract 23.4 degrees from 90 degrees, you get 66.6 north-south latitude. Not only that, they say the Earth travels around the sun approximately 66,600 miles per hour. That's a lot of 666s. The Bible mentions the number of the beast being 666, and it is the number of a man. The Bible describes the world as flat in many passages throughout the Bible. The fact that they keep repeating it makes me think that that is important. The Bible even says it'll deceive the elect if that were possible. The only way to deceive the elect would be to have it be something that they'd never expect. The whole Bible is not a metaphor. Maybe we should quit reading it as one.
Why would the government spend billions of dollars to lie to us? Why would they spend so much money to tell us that they went to the moon? Why would the government cover for PDFs who like to eat babies? The government loves us. They would tell us the truth no matter what. We definitely landed on the moon, guys. What are you, a flat earther? A revolution? I have to go back to work. Listen, you know the best way we could end this flat earth versus globe debate? Let's just all go to Antarctica. Oh wait, you can't. Or at least not freely. And somehow almost every country agreed to that. No wars, no fighting over land. But they all have bases there. Now the moon landing. You're telling me we went to the moon in 1969 when TVs were still black and white and people were still using rotary phones, and the same people who told us don't trust everything you see on TV trusted everything they saw on TV. Make that make sense. And I heard we had the technology, but we lost it. How do you lose technology like that? And the cameras. People say the moon gets like negative 260 degrees. So how are they working so perfectly? And then the flag. I've seen the clips. It looks like it's moving. No wind, no atmosphere. So what is that? How can we zoom into deep space but not zoom into what's on the moon? And if we really went in the 60s, why does it feel like we haven't gone back the same way since? Now listen, I am not saying that I have all the answers, but at some point you at least gotta question it. People are gonna call me crazy, but what's crazy is not questioning anything at all. Listen, you know the best way we could end this flat earth versus globe debate? Let's just all go to Antarctica. Oh wait, you can't. Or at least not freely. And somehow almost every country agreed to that. No wars, no fighting over land. But they all have bases there. Now the moon landing. You're telling me we went to the moon in 1969 when TVs were still black and white and people were still using rotary phones, and the same people who told us don't trust everything you see on TV trusted everything they saw on TV. Make that make sense. And I heard we had the technology, but we lost it. How do you lose technology like that? And the cameras. People say the moon gets like negative 260 degrees. So how are they working so perfectly? And then the flag. I've seen the clips. It looks like it's moving. No wind, no atmosphere. So what is that? How can we zoom into deep space but not zoom into what's on the moon? And if we really went in the 60s, why does it feel like we haven't gone back the same way since? Now listen, I am not saying that I have all the answers, but at some point you at least gotta question it. People are gonna call me crazy, but what's crazy is not questioning anything at all.
If Antarctica is nothing but frozen ice stretching for miles, why do armed guards decide exactly where your boots can touch the ground in Antarctica? Think about it. You can book a flight to North Korea tomorrow if you wanted. You can hike through restricted military zones in dozens of countries and just pay a fine. But somehow, on a continent that's supposedly just empty glaciers and penguins, there's an invisible fence nobody talks about. Even weirder. Every nation on the planet, countries that can't agree on anything, all signed one specific paper in 1959 saying the same thing about this one place. Here's what they tell us. Scientists need to preserve the environment. Fair enough, right? But then you dig deeper. Private expeditions get blocked. Independent researchers get turned around. Even with millions of dollars and proper equipment, civilians hit walls that don't exist anywhere else on Earth. Mountains you can't climb, valleys you can't enter, coastlines where boats mysteriously get redirected.
Hey everyone, I'm having the best time in space and on the moon. What? Are we just doing all this NASA stuff for money laundering? That's ridiculous. Oh, excuse me. The dryer was done. Isn't this space adventure so exciting? Definitely more interesting than all these files. This space mission is super real, just like the aliens we keep telling you about. What? The wars that we're doing on Earth are actually more real? Look at this poop. It's just floating in space. Oh wait, can you see my hand?
Oh, looking at vintage space exploration suits is one of the greatest things you can do. Back in 1931, Yevgeny Chertovsky created this one, and they just get funnier the more that you look through. This one was made for longbouts on the moon, but they never used it, maybe they peaked too soon. Shiny silver was compulsory, big bulbous helmets of luxury, and if you think they wouldn't work, you're a flat earth loon. Oh, vintage space exploration suits come with helmets, shiny trousers, and boots. They don't look out of place in Star Trek, and this one looks just like a Dalek. Oh, vintage space exploration suits. Take a look through history, you'll see it's true that it wasn't just the crafts made of tin foil, but it was the clothing too. Oh, vintage space exploration suits come with helmets, shiny trousers, and boots. They don't look out of place in Star Trek, and this one looks just like a Dalek in their vintage space exploration suit.
The flat Earth map dates back over 1,000 years. This map is credited to being created by a Persian astronomer. His name was Al-Biruni, and he lived between 973 AD to 1048 AD. It's the official map of the United Nations and also the United States Geological Survey. It used to be present in many places before the creation of NASA and the Antarctic Treaty in 1959. Here you see it with Admiral Byrd. This map has been restored by Dmitry from Russia with suggestions of mine, Eddie Alenkar. Known by my YouTube channel Flat Earth Banjo, I asked Dmitry to include the Bermuda Triangle and Point Nemo, a place deep in the Pacific where NASA buries rockets. Then Robert Tozzi, a professional mapmaker, came along and enhanced the map even more. There are many people now selling this map online, but if you could order it from my online store, I would greatly appreciate it. Visit my online store now and order one of the items. I humbly thank you.